What's up guys, you got J-Dog here. I'm going to be showing y'all today how to take the version 1.1 default setting server manager and basically run a server. So first thing we're going to do is start on the server screen. We're going to go through every setting in the server manager and explain what everything does so that if this is, say, your first time running a server, you'll have everything ready to go. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the name of the server to whatever you want it to be. Doesn't matter if you do uppercase, lowercase, because in the end it's just going to show up as caps on the player's screen. So change it to whatever you'd like it to be. It doesn't matter. The password, the admin password, there's no use for this. Absolutely none. Never found a reason for it. But you cannot just leave it as password, and that's what it's going to start as by default. If you try to start the server like this, it's going to tell you need to change this. So go ahead and, I don't know, throw an S on there. Passwords. Doesn't make a difference. You can put a server password on the server if you choose to. So go with the original password for the clans. This will keep other people from getting into the server. But keep in mind, if you do put a password on there, you want to keep it short, because it's a real pain to have to type each key out on the screen with a controller. Next thing we're going to do is leave the IP address as it is, leave the game port and the remote console port. We don't need to change that. Host simulation rate is, it's nothing. It's not important. There's nothing to it. The only thing we have found that this can do is basically just auto-kick players that have been sitting around for too long. They haven't done anything. So we're going to go ahead and set that to the minimum because I don't want anyone thrown out of my server for no reason. Other than that, on PS2, that's what we're looking at here, is a PS2 server. We're going to have a maximum of 24 players. It's the maximum no matter what. PC, you're going to be looking at 64. Is the absolute max, if you can even find 64 people that still have the game. But 24 is the max for PS2. It won't allow any more than that, even if you set it higher. So, minimum players. The minimum players is 0. I keep this setting at 1 so that the server doesn't run through maps when there's nobody in the server. There's no reason to have the server running if nobody's in it. That being said, the server will still show up on the list of servers on the PS2, but it just doesn't need to run through maps when there's nobody in it. So LAN or internet. LAN is going to keep the server on your own Wi-Fi from within your own house. Nobody else is going to see it unless they're on the same network within your house. So you're going to want to set that to internet. Other than that, let's go ahead and change this setting, server bandwidth, to 6 megabits per second, and move on to the next screen. So we've got the Games tab. This has got all sorts of useful stuff. If we're going to go with the servers that everyone's playing with at this time, we're going to go ahead and turn off Heroes, and we're going to leave Player Awards on. You can go through and turn on Heroes if you want. There's different ways to activate Heroes. So we have reinforcements, points, kills, timer, and captures. Captures is going to be for capture the flag, so say after 2 flags you want the hero to unlock. That's your choice. But reinforcements, this is going to be when reinforcements get down to a certain point, I believe. I don't know. You decide. So, assignment rule, this is who gets the choice to be the hero. So you can kind of go through that and decide what works best for you. You would probably want to keep it on random. You don't want the same person to be getting it each time. However, if you pity the new players in your server, you'll want to go with least points or least kills. But keep in mind, the more experienced players can keep a hero in their rotation of classes. They don't have to spawn in if they get the choice. So If you keep it on random, and an experienced player gets it and doesn't want to release the hero to their team, then nobody on that team will get to have the hero. Moving on, we're going to have the hero respawn timer, but conquest time limit. So you're going to want to go ahead and set that to a reasonable amount of time. There are certain maps like Hoth where you can max out the time and have a map that runs infinitely. That is one map I've seen that will for sure reach a point where there's 2 AI, either on both teams or just one team, and none of the AI move, they just camp. And the map never ends until somebody goes in there and kills them. Other than that, we'll go ahead and leave that at 30 minutes. I feel like that would be the most time I'd want to spend on a map. Same thing for capture the flag, 30 minutes at the most. And for hunt, 30 minutes at the most. We'll do 15. I don't want to spend too much time on a hunt map. It's kind of a novelty map. So, capture the flag, CTF score limit. We're going to be looking at how many flags are going to be scored before the map ends. Back in the old days, we had it set to 10, and that could go on for hours, especially on Death Star when you have a full server. Death Star, capture the flag, those halls are almost impassable. So we're going to leave this at 5. Again, you don't really want to run the map more than 30 minutes, and how many flags can you score in 30 minutes? If you're scoring more than 5, then it is a mismatch. You might as well move on. So, assault score limit. There is one specific map that we use this for. Well, take that back. We use this for space maps as well. We're going to go ahead and set that to 200 for now. Hunt score limit, we're going to leave that at 50. Again, hunt maps are usually novelty maps. You don't want them to go on for too long. Conquest, this is not 1-to-1. Your reinforcements will not be set to 100. We're going to go ahead and set this to 125. You're going to come out with maybe 150 or 160 on reinforcements. Assault, reinforcements. This is going to be your hero map. I'll just leave that at 100. So, moving on, friendly fire. This is whether or not you can shoot your own teammates, and it's the only setting on this tab. Should be turned off, unless this is a clan server, and there aren't too many of those. Moving on. Auto-assign teams. Yep, everyone's going to join the same team if we give them the choice. Show player names. This is a fun setting. Nobody ever turns it off, but I think it'd be fun to play a full server where we had no clue who was shooting at us. Plus, I mean, imagine playing a map where you can't tell the difference between a player and an AI. It'd be kind of fun. Randomized map order. It's not as random as you think. You'd be better off randomizing the list, and we'll take a look at that here in a minute. Better off randomizing the list than letting the server randomize the order. So AI difficulty, let's see here. At 1, we've got an AI that doesn't move. At 2, we've got an AI that doesn't aim. And 3, we've got an AI that shoots you in the face every time. There's no in-between between 2 and 3. But we usually leave it at 3. Makes a better player. Spawn invincibility. This is so that you can't die just for spawning. And if you've played Star Wars Battlefront, the original, you know that you can spawn on a mine and it kills you instantly. A lot of times that people will throw mines onto spawn points so that you die upon trying to keep the base. So we're going to set that to 3 seconds. The first second your camera is just finding its way back to the player. The second is going to be the player realizing where they are, what direction they're facing, if there's anybody in the room, and the third second is starting to move. So 3 seconds is fair, but you can always do more if you want. I wouldn't leave it at 0, it's not a good idea. Warm-up time. This is going to be time before the map starts. This is time for everyone to get into the server from the last map. or time for everyone to wait and get ready. This is actually like practice time, so if you set it to 120 seconds, you'll actually get 2 minutes before the map starts where you can spawn, run around, shoot other players, and that's about it. You can't use the full functionality of a class and you won't get any points or awards. It's only 2 minutes, not a whole lot. I usually leave this around 30 or 45 seconds, and this is again just time for you to get from one map to the other where people aren't already scoring the flag before you join. So looking at kick player majority percent, this is a setting that nobody uses anymore. This will allow you to go into the player list inside your game and choose to kick a player. Now, if you've put a player up to vote, everybody in the server will have the option to vote yes or no on whether or not to boot the player. If 50% of the people on the server agree, that's 50% because of this setting right here, agree that the player should be kicked, then the server will automatically kick the player. We don't use this setting. We're going to turn this off. It's not really fair. If you play the original Star Wars Battlefront, you can't turn off that setting, however, players don't get booted. Other than that, that is server-wide kick player majority. This is kick team player, the option for you to kick someone from your own team, specifically a vote among everyone on your team. We're going to turn that off. So Conquest AI players per team. The maximum you can do on a PS2 server is 16 AI per team. Any more than that, and it will automatically default to 16. Any less than that, do as you please. If you're looking at more than 8 AI, you're starting to lag other players. You're playing in your own server from within your own house. You'll never notice the lag. Have fun with 16 players if your computer can keep up with it. So, other than that, there's a warning here that comes back from the server tab. You start to get unstable when you have the number of players plus the number of AI greater than 24. So, coming back here, if I have 8 players in the server, and then I have 8 AI on each team, that's 24 total players. Any more than that, and you start looking at crashing the server. So, you can keep yourself busy with 4, but if you're looking for some action, try 5 or 6. Other than that, again, we just kind of keep it the same across the board. And Assault players, again, Assault is supposed to be fun, so have fun with it. Maybe try 6 AI per team. Moving on, in the Admin tab, this is going to be a variety of settings. Good or bad, most of them don't get used very often. So auto kick on minus score. If you don't have friendly fire turned on, then it's pretty hard to get a negative score. One way you can get a negative score is by respawning, going into the start list and respawning your player. That'll give you a negative score. And other than that, I think if you do something with the flag, if you die with the flag, you can also lose points. There's a way. It's happened to me before. We're going to leave that setting off, but your choice. If you want to have a player get kicked out of the server for having a negative score of 25, then so be it. Other than that, auto kick on high ping. Players with high ping are usually coming from a long distance, trying to reach the server. The higher the ping, the more likely it is to lag the server. It slows everyone down overall. So, an average ping, I'd say a good player's ping is going to be around 100. Some of them get up to 150. But other than that, you start lagging the server when it's at 200, 250, and it's not fun for that player either. So just kind of keep that in mind. But we're going to set this to 325. That is an incredibly high ping. Other than that, you can do high ping warnings where the server will post a message on the screen warning them about their high ping. After a few of these messages, it is going to automatically kick the player out. So, no bother warning them. It is a lot of messages on the screen, and they might not even see them anyway. So, auto kick on banned words. If we do edit banned words, we're going to get a file here. Bring that over here so you can see it. A file here, and you can kind of go through and read it, kind of understand what the file needs you to do in order to ban a word. But it's been a long time since we've banned any words, and you won't exactly have any words to ban, unless this is a family-friendly server, but the odds of you needing to ban a word are very slim. So, go ahead and close that out. Now you can auto-kick for the banned words, and again, you can have warnings for the banned words, but if you're going to ban a word, why would you warn them about it? You might as well just keep them out. Once they get into the server, it's going to show on the screen that you've been kicked for a reason, and the reason will be banned words. So you don't need to sit in the server and wait to be kicked. Just get out. Other than that, we're going to look at enable auto announce. This is something we use in the server. We haven't been using it recently, but edit announcements. There are no announcements in this server because it's a default server. If you check the link in the description, you're going to be able to download this server. Everything that we're going through with all these settings, you can download it as you see it and kind of go from there. If you don't have the server, this is probably the only way to get it, but who knows, maybe there's some other links out there. If you find a link, post it in the description. I know StarWarsBattlefrontGamers.com has some cool files, and they might still have a copy of the server out there that you can download, but you will have to modify some files in that server to get it to work. There will be another link in the description for how to mod the server to make it work on the DNS. I'm assuming that the server you get from StarWarsBattlefront.com will not work as it sits. But anyways, that's another video. But yes, so you can put messages here. So the case of your letters doesn't matter. On the server, it's going to show as all caps no matter how you type it. So remember, you don't want these messages to be too long. If the server's running with a lot of players, you're going to have things like Joe killed Jack and Jane killed Jill, and those things are going to cut off the message if it's too long. You don't want it to wrap to more than 3 lines, and it's going to take a bit of playing with the server and the screen to see just how much space you're taking up on the screen with your messages. One common message we leave in the server is don't take the last space. It's not fair to take the last space just because someone can't keep up with how fast you're going. Other than that, there is an automatic message in here, and that can't remember off the top of my head what that message is. You're not able to take it out, and it plays automatically. It's nothing crazy. It's who made the server, credits to the server, and it's automatically in your rotation, but it's no big deal. Okay, we'll go ahead and let's save that. Okay, now we can close it out. So we have announcement period. So this is how often you're going to automatically play one of those announcements that we just typed. So you don't want it to be there all up in their face all the time. Just as a reminder, maybe once every 3 minutes. And if you're playing in the server and you notice you see the same message a lot, maybe you'll increase that time to be less annoying. But if you're keeping it at the minimum is 10 seconds, that's a lot of messages. I think it takes about 3 seconds alone just for Jane killed Jack to get off the screen. So I'll leave that at 3 minutes for now. If you're having trouble getting your mouse, because this window is automatically sized and tiny, but different computers at the time, you can use arrow keys to move these sliders back and forth to precisely get just what you need. Enable player stats logging. This is something that you don't really want to look into too much. If you just check it, I believe it's going to automatically start logging. It'll log scores, IP addresses, player names, map times, and I think map scores as well. What the map ended at. 5 flags, 30 minutes, 0 reinforcements versus 200, I'm not sure. It records a lot of interesting stuff. CD key hash as well. We'll look at the banned player list here in a sec. You can ban, I believe, CD key hashes, and you can ban based on player names as well. But we'll talk about the key hash here in a sec. So other than that, we're just going to enable it just for fun. When you start the server and somebody plays, at the end of the map it will record this data, and you can kind of see what happened. So status. This screen has a lot of really good information on it, but it only matters while the server is running. So one important thing that I always look at, say we're on a long, annoying map, and I'm wondering what's the next map going to be. You can look down at next map and it'll tell you exactly what's coming up next. If you don't like that map, you can always come over to Maps, right click on a map, and there will be options to change the map to the current selected one. It'll automatically end the map. You can set the next map to the currently selected one if it is already in the rotation. You have to stop and start the server to update the rotation. So, jumping around here, let's go ahead and add a couple maps, and we're going to filter these maps. So let's only look at conquest maps. There we go. We have a short little list here of just conquest maps. And we'll take the first 3 that we get. Notice that we only have 3 letters to describe the name of the map. We have Dagobah, Coruscant, another Dagobah down here, randomly separated up because let's organize by name. You can click on these game modes, eras, group by era, group by game mode, group by map, name, organized up or down. But other than that, we have Death Star, Endor, Felucia, Geonosis, Hoth, Kamino, Kashyyyk, Mustafar, scroll down, Magito, Naboo, Polis Massa, Tantive, Tatooine 2 is going to be Mos E, Tat 3, give me a sec, did I get that right? The way you can tell these apart is going to be the assault map for Mos E. You only get that for Mos E. So Tat 2 is going to be Mos E. Tat 3, they're both on Tatooine. It's organized by planet. It's really stupid. Tat 3 is going to be your Jabba's palace. Then we have Utapau and Yavin. Other than that, you have an annoying amount of space maps that nobody likes to play. I love to play them, but nobody else does. I don't get what the deal is. Anyways, they are considered assault maps, as you can see here. There is a capture the flag for them as well, but meh, nobody plays them. So going back, let's refresh the list. take out the assault maps. We're going to select a few maps. And save. Okay. So coming back to our little menu here, we have the map list saved. We haven't started the server yet, but let's look at the first map. So assuming our server was active, this list is going to be set for maps to rotate in this specific order. Remember, we didn't turn on the randomized map list here. So they will rotate in this specific order. We have the option to, we don't use set idle map or clear idle map, don't worry about that. That's mainly going to be if your server is running constantly and there's nobody in it. It's kind of a bait map to get people to join, but again, we're not having our server run unless people are in it, so it's not important. So clear idle map, run next map is going to automatically end the map and start the next one, whatever the next planned map is according to our status. Then restart map. If it was a bad start or you've changed a setting or changed the number of AI, you'll have to restart the map for changes to take effect. You can export the map list, say you like the current one, but that week you're feeling something different. You can export the map list and import a map list as well. We're going to have options here to show specific maps. And then we have options to just kind of automatically show all game modes, hide all game modes, and then remove column sort. What does that do? There we go. That's what I wanted earlier. If you remove column sorts, we're going to get all of our selected maps moved automatically up to the front. Again, move column sort. There we go. Yay. That's our rotation, all collected right there. Other than that, you can check all maps, uncheck. You can hold down Control and pick individual maps and uncheck selected maps. But other than that, let's uncheck all maps. Again, let's get R4. Let's check them all. And there we go. So we're going to hit Save, and then let's go over to the next tab, the Players tab. Nothing to see. We'll put a player in here later and look at what we can do with him. On our bans, you can ban a specific player based on their name. And key hash, what I was talking about earlier, CD key hash is going to be a specific address on the disk that the player is using. So they can change names all they want and still get into the server. However, if you ban the key hash, you will now ban that disk, that person's disk. Now they can get another disk and keep going, but we'll look at how we can get around that here. So let's go ahead and save. Alright, never mind. We can't actually ban a player this way. By hitting save, it's not easy to do. But we're going to look at, once we get that player in the server, we're going to ban him, and you'll see what we can do from our ban list. Other than that, moving on to users, this is how you can make a remote admin for this server. It takes a little bit of playing. You can select specifically what they're allowed to do or not do. Be careful with this because you don't want to give them access to who can manage the server. Doing that will give them the opportunity to make other admins, people that you don't approve. So select everything you want, give them a name, give them a cool password, and then don't worry about key hash. Where's my button? It's on the edge. Yep, so right here we have the save button, and below it believe is going to be the delete button. Yep, there we go. So let's go ahead and click save. So what can we do with this guy now that he's down here? We have a whole list of things we can look at. You can give them a random password. What good is that? That is a pain to type. You can give the user specific things. These levels of admin, if you've really got that many admins, well, clearly you don't trust them. You've got that many levels of adminship. You can edit the presets, and it gives you a whole text file of what to do. We're not going to look at that. Nobody uses that. You can, down here, down below, off of the screen, I have grant admin access, so you can automatically just give them access to everything. Or you can also just click here, remove, and again we're going to click save now, and we have a new way of taking things away from the player. So with that access there, if they try to log in, these things that aren't selected on their remote manager are not going to be on their screen. But we'll go ahead and remove the users. Moving on. Just kind of play with the settings, do what you think is right for your people. Okay, moving on. Schedule. Nobody in their life has ever used this. Don't bother. And clients, all this screen is good for is when you have remote admins connected to the server, people in another place, on another time zone, trying to make changes to your server. They'll appear on the list, so if JDog logged in, you can actually see him on the list of connected users, and you can actually right-click on the user and choose to log them out, disconnect them. I think there's some other choices like removing them as an admin, and just all sorts of fun stuff. But that is pretty much all the tabs. At this point now, you've seen me hit the save button several times. Every time you make an update, you're going to hit the save button. If you don't hit the save button, the change doesn't take effect. When you're in the game, if you've got the server running and you change a setting, the only choice you have is to hit the save button. If you don't hit the save button, it just doesn't take effect. Other than that, refresh. You've seen me hit the refresh screen a few times. This is going to be a good example is while the server is running, if you were to change over to the status screen, it doesn't update every screen all the time. It only updates while you're on that screen. So you come over here, you can wait for the server to automatically update the screen, or you can just hit refresh and it's going to change those screens. Other than that, refresh again on the player screen because you came back, somebody might have joined, or they might have gotten better scores. Other than that, settings. Just have generic options here. Then we have options, where we have generic settings. Auto-update the players and status pages. This is where I said it's going to update on its own, but only like once every 5 to 10 seconds. Restart the server automatically. This is going to be if the server crashes. The server will stop on its own for whatever reason, and if you don't have it set to restart, then the server's just down until either you come home or your friend comes home and logs in to restart it. Enable user interface sounds. I don't know if you can hear the clicks and stuff. You can turn that on and off if it bothers you so. Enable tooltip descriptions. So, yes, one thing you can do is these tooltips. If you got a question about a setting, we can come over here. I believe, just hover. There is little gray buttons, yellow windows I've seen pop up. There are generic tooltips here and there that pop up Keep server manager window always on top. No. I don't always need that on top. It's kind of annoying. And what I'm talking about with server manager window is going to be a generic white window that runs in the background. This is going to be the server itself. If you watched the video on how to mod the server for the new DNS, then you know that that white window is going to be this window that's kind of in the background. It's what does all the work of connecting the players and connecting to the network. But it doesn't need to be on top. It's not important enough to see. And what's in it isn't readable or understandable. To an extent, you can't do anything with it. Keep a log of important events. That's going to be this log down here. Log player chats to server manager log file. I believe this is only a PC thing. I know that you can log admin. It will log admin. Admin comments are a significant event. So you can actually, while the server's running, come down here in this bar and type a message. And when you hit enter, it's going to go out to the player's screen and display automatically. But there is on PC, they have a player's chat at the top of the screen. And I believe that's what the setting's referring to. It's the same manager for a PC server. And PS2, you just can't do that. You only have mics on PS2. We don't need that. It's not going to do anything. Kick and ban players after a delay. That's going to be a big setting we're going to turn off. I don't know what is considered a delay. Perhaps that high ping is a delay, but we don't need to be kicking anyone for any reason unless we choose to. So we'll close that out. The log, let's see here. You can see where it just logs every event. You can see where I've changed settings in the server. Here, every little setting we've changed, it's recorded. Every time I hit save, it's going to say settings have been updated. User admin at server changed. Other than that, yeah, just generic stuff. If you're wondering what happened in a server, or if one of your managers, remote managers, logged in and made a change, you're wondering who it was, you can look at this log here, and it'll tell you exactly who did it and what they did. Close that out. The About screen. Yep, there's nothing good here. This stuff isn't a thing anymore. This email doesn't exist. This website doesn't exist. And I don't know who that is. Read through it for fun, read through it once, and it's not good for anything after that. Other than that, we have the exit button, which closes out of the server. If you just hit the X button, it's not actually closing out of the manager. But if you have the server running, you don't want to exit this screen. You want to kind of keep it open. Other than that, we've made all of our changes. So let's hit start. And it's going to ask us, it's asking me if I want to allow it to use my public and private networks. I'm going to give it access. Let's scoot over here. So this little window, this is the background window that runs the server. You're going to see it pop up, and it may take 20 seconds to actually start. You can see here, this is the useless information you get, the game server name, what map you're on, what the teams are, what the current reinforcements are. Notice how I didn't set that to 187. If I'm going over to my game screen here, you'll see Conquest reinforcements are set to 125. But here they are 187. The time hasn't started yet. It will automatically set to 30 minutes and count down. 30 minutes plus the warm-up time. And that starts once the first player actually makes it into the map. It will not start when the server. Let me put it this way: a player appears on the screen as soon as they hit the button, hit X to join the server. They will appear on the player list without a team, as a team will be non, N-O-N, and once they make it into the map, that's when the timer starts. That's when AI spawn. That's when your warm-up time starts counting down, and a team is assigned to them. All sorts of stuff. Other than that, I have the stop button. I'll go ahead and stop the button. One thing to keep in mind here is if you try to drag this, put it wherever you want to on your computer. Every time you click and hold, you see how this is, I don't know if you guys can see it. This is kind of flashing when the manager updates with your frame rate of the screen and how fast your eyes can see it. Sometimes it flashes, you kind of see it there. But if you click and drag this window around, you'll see it stop kind of flickering, and that is lagging the server. Every time you grab and move this window, the server stops functioning. Everything in the server stops. If you're in the server playing the game and somebody moves this window, you will automatically lag, and actually you won't change position at all. None of the AI will move, no shots will be fired, and everybody just kind of comes to a stop. If you hold it down for more than, say, 10 seconds, everybody in the server gets kicked out. It's almost as if the server crashes. But the server will continue to run once you release the window. Other than that, we have the hide window button. Hide, it's just going to take this off the screen, but if you don't know where to find it to put it back on the screen, then it doesn't do you any good. So other than that, we'll go ahead and stop the server. Are you sure you want to stop the server? This is going to take everyone in the game and close it out. The message will pop up on the player's screen saying this session has been quit by the host, and everyone will be kicked out of the server. Other than that, server's gone, and that's pretty much all there is to it, guys. Yep, we're going to look at the player's screen here in a sec. I'm going to go ahead and connect my PS2, and you guys can see what we can do with players. So, alright. I'm going to run through this real quick because I don't want to make the video too much longer than it already is. You can see JDog right now is joining the server, so let's go ahead and we will quickly move that off the screen. If I come to players, you can see that he does not have a team. His team is currently set to non, and I'm going to wait here as my player connects. I currently have the server running on the LAN rather than public, just because it's me working on it by myself. Alright, he's in the server. If I refresh it, you're going to see I have a ping, an IP address. You can't see the key hash over here, but I also have a team now. So if I right-click on the player, I get these various settings. I can warn the server, which we won't ever use. I can warn the player with a predetermined setting. One thing you got to be careful with is this automatic refresh rate will just kind of take the list away from you as you're trying to select something. So you can kick player for no reason. You can kick player for an automatic reason, but usually you're going to want to kick player for a custom reason. So once you click custom reason, you can say whatever the reason be, banned, and click OK, and it may take up to 30 seconds, but it will kick the player out of the server. You can swap their teams. So if I click swap, now JDog goes to CIS. Let's see here, copy player to clipboard. I don't know what that does. Copy player name, banned player name. That would add the name to that banned list of words. Then you can copy key hash, export player list, and edit player menu. Let's look at edit player menu. No, we're not going to do that. So right now I'm going to go ahead and ban the player for a day. The server immediately said booted from session. Alright, so I've just banned the player, and looking at the bans, now I have JDog banned with a CD key hash, the date they were banned, and I believe admin is who banned them. This saying admin means it was banned from the main host computer. Other than that, you can type a reason in here now. I didn't specify a reason there, I just banned for a day. But if you were to go into the list and click that option to ban for a specific reason, you can do that. And it will automatically save the reason here. So, other than that, we'll do glitching. We're going to say that player was glitching. Huh. Cool. You can ban them as many times as you want. Or not. But yeah, that's all there is to the server, guys. Very easy, very straightforward. Like I said earlier, I was talking about the status tab. It's got all of our data listed here. Basically showing you everything there is. We're going to look at, so let's go ahead and change the next map. Say I don't want Dagobah, I want Geonosis. We're going to hit set next map. We're going to come back to the status screen, and the server automatically refresh, and it says the next map's Geonosis. Good stuff. I can actually, if you see here, let's go over to, I'm going to go over to the Maps tab, and I'm going to change the map to Endor. If I click on Change Map, the server stopped. It's going to think for a minute. The players would be seeing their scores at this moment. And it starts to go over to the next map. Notice our timer hasn't started because nobody's in the server. Yeah, that's all there is to it, guys. Pretty straightforward. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to check the description for other videos that might help you with running the server. And if you're having problems with the video or problems with the server, be sure to comment down below, and if I see the comment, I'll try to respond and help you guys fix your problems. So, that's all there is to it, guys. See ya.